Fawzan al-Rabi'a and a number of senior officials. The King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center in Ma'rib launched the food aid distribution project, which is targeting a number of districts in the south of Ma'rib and north of Al-Bayda. The first phase of the project is the distribution of 49,000 food baskets intended to the governorates of Ma'rib, Sana'a, Hadramaut, Al-Bayda and Al-Jawf, in addition to the distribution of 35,000 bags of flour on the centers of need in the provinces of Hadramaut, Jawf and Ma'rib. The aid comes as an extension of relief and humanitarian projects offered by the center to the people of Yemeni provinces to alleviate their suffering due to the crisis they are experiencing. The clinics of King Salman Center for Relief and Humanitarian Work continue at a Zatari refugee camp in Jordan, providing its medical services at the highest level of efficiency diversity, where the total number of patients receiving treatment during the week 252nd or 51st of October 2017 has reached 3,977 beneficiaries within the comprehensive healthcare programs offered by the center to Syrian brothers. It's noteworthy that the clinics provide medicines for their visitors free of the charge and is in constant development. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia gave its strong condemnation of the report made by a UN committee that the United Nations has presented $14 million to the so-called Yemeni Ministry of Education, that is an affiliate of the Houthi militias, which are planting thousands of mines inside Yemen and on the Saudi border, requesting reconsideration of the report submitted to the committee to reflect the facts that had been ignored and the commitment of all United Nations or all United Nations organs to the relevant Security Council resolutions, including Resolution 2216, underlining that the UN support for Al-Houthi coup militias was unjustifiable or unacceptable. The Kingdom also confirmed that the rogue militias of Al-Houthi and Saleh had planted and deployed at least 50,000 mines on the Saudi-Yemeni border and tens of thousands of mines in populated Yemeni cities and villages, as well as naval mines into the Red Sea near the Saudi border. This came in a speech delivered by the Kingdom's permanent delegation to the United Nations on Wednesday to the Special Political and Decolonization Committee, 4th Committee, on Item 50 on mine action. Delegation of the Kingdom gave its appreciation for the efforts of the UN, in particular the UN Mine Action Service in the area of mine clearance and the UN efforts to achieve the United Nations Mine Action Strategy for period 2013-2018, in line with the achievement of the goals of the United Nations Plan for Sustainable Development 2030. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia stressed the importance of promoting international cooperation at the level of governments and international bodies for protecting and preserving human rights. This was unfolded during the speech of the Kingdom in the UN, delivered by the First Secretary at the Kingdom Permanent Mission to the United Nations, Saleh bin Ahmed Al-Amiri, as he commented on the report of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, posed the questions relating to refugees, returnees and displaced persons, and humanitarian questions, and the report of the Secretary General on the assistance to refugees, returnees and displaced persons in Africa were included in the work of the 72nd session of the General Assembly. He said that the Kingdom hails at the international and UN levels the support UNHCR's Refugees and Progress in implementing commitments to date under the Big Deal and providing $443 million to national NGOs. He added, since the outbreak of the crisis in Syria and since the first day of the beginning of the suffering of the brotherly Syrian people, the Kingdom has been at the forefront of the supportive and sensitive countries of its humanitarian suffering. The Kingdom has received nearly 2.5 million Syrian citizens in the Kingdom and doesn't treat them as refugees or put them in refugees camps in order to preserve their dignity, safety, and gave them full freedom of movement granted to those who wanted to stay in the kingdom, as it shelters hundreds of thousands of regular residents and entertain the same rights similar to all other residents, he concluded. New development has taken place in Yemen's fighting, where the coup militia and the National Army were engaged in the fighting. The National Army succeeded in restoring another strategic front of Mount Han west of Taiz. Another development announced by the Army spokesman said that the National Army liberated 20 locations from the grip of the coup militia in east of Sana'a. The spokesman went on to say that the continuation of the fighting forced the militia to flee their positions, leaving a number of members dead and wounded. At another site in the west of Taiz, National Army liberated the village of Al-Quz in Al-Aqab, destroying a number of their ammunition depots. Iraqi forces on Friday entered Al-Qa'im, the main town in the Daesh last bastion in the country.